Hello everyone, it's Pam here with Tattered Paper and Lace, and I am here today with a different video, not just Marguerite Miller. Excuse my lighting, I can't seem to get it just right because the book glares that's in front of you, so I'm trying to keep the glare off the acetate that is on the front of this. So I'm here today with a journal. I've been working on this one for a little while, trying to get back into the journal making, and it's been a slow process, but I do have this one, and I'm calling this the Eclectic Traveler, and it has it's a 9 1/4 by 6 1/2. It's just one signature, and this is made from a greeting card, a Hallmark card, and I haven't covered this up yet, but I usually put my handmade little, I'll show you. I have it here. It's not ready to put on, but I usually put this on. But I couldn't decide whether I needed to cover up the Hallmark or if someone would be, whoever wants this journal, whoever purchases it, would want that Hallmark to show. So I haven't put it on there. I haven't made that decision. But anyway, single signature, and it's about 72 pages. And I'm calling this the Eclectic Traveler because it is a travel-ish sort of book. It actually started out to be a travel book, and it didn't really wind up that way. I just have it closed, tied with this kind of gauzy fabric. So it's a little bit stiff. I'm not really sure what it is. This is the fabric, and it's kind of stiff, and I'm not really, and it's kind of transparent. I'm not really sure what kind of fabric it is, but I like it, and I've used it inside the book some too. So this is the closure on here, and like I said, it's made with a greeting card, and this greeting card had this window already. It did not have acetate in it, and so I put acetate in it, took the inside of the card out, so I'm just using the cover of the card. It was a little booklet card. And I've used some of this same fabric around the edge of this, like it had a covering over it and it was torn off. A couple of Tim Holtz pieces on there. And we open it up, and I have used bits and pieces of some leftover papers from other projects that I thought I need to get these used up and out of the way. So I've used quite a number in here. That's basically all that's in here is pieces I had left over from other projects. So this is a decorative piece, digital. Don't remember where it came from. I've had it for a long time, but it was just a half a page, and so I have it fastened to its other page with that same little fabric that you see in here. The inside of the cover here is wallpaper. So I've used wallpaper for that, and I have put lace along the edge here, and I have actually put, there was a butterfly under there, and I actually put one that had, so I could raise the wings up, and I put a little bit of flower here. So this was a two-sided page, and it might have been, it might have been a sheet that was purchased from Temu, Shein, Amazon, one of those places. I really don't remember where it came from. But I had these coffee-dyed pages from a journal, blank journal, that had these little swirlies, and it had little sayings here, little uplifting sayings. So I've used those throughout this book as well. Then we have a round doily, and then this page is it's a very cool page. It is a typographical kind of map book of, I think I'm not even sure what it is. It came from a friend of mine. She gave me this whole big book. I'll show it to you. It's very interesting. And it's from the county I live in. Soil survey. It's a soil survey maps, and all the pages are like this. And I think that's very cool. So I've used those in a couple of places. This is a pocket, and this came from a greeting card, card making kit. And I don't make cards, so I used it for this and made it into a little pocket with just some leftover bits and pieces from some other, I think that actually these three things are from Mirage. Something Mirage. I can't remember the name of her site, so I apologize for that. Move this light over here now, because it can be, yeah. And then so on the other side, I have used, this is from another greeting card that I fussy cut this little flower out, made it be a tuck spot. And I have my information and a piece of Tim Holtz scrapbook paper in there. And then in here I have included ideas for junk journals. And this is a little coin envelope thing that I have collaged on and put in here, turned it upside down. It's not really it's not a coin envelope, it's a regular envelope, but I've turned it upside down, and this is the flap of the envelope. And then just made it have a couple pockets. Some blank pages for writing. This was a flip out page that I had made some time back to use in a journal, and for some reason I didn't use it. So I thought, well, let me use it here. So I kind of like this little flip out, gives you a little bit of extra writing space. This is made from wallpaper. And this is kind of like a planner pad, notepad thing. Not from a book, it was a notepad thing. This was an invitation card that came from the stationery store. And I just cut out the image that was on it and tucked it in here. And this is just a piece of cardstock that I embossed with the writing embossing folder and put some gold gilding over it. You can kind of see the gold in there. This is a piece from one of those big desk calendars, and it has like the big squares, 2-inch squares or whatever for your calendar, and it's a blotting pad as well, and I've used that. You can see I've used that for a little, this was on, on one side of it, and I used that to make a little note place to write little things. And then I have made this tag out of a Tim Holtz tag. It's stitched around, some grungy fabric on it, and I just have Traveler on there. And that's Tim Holtz piece, and that's just some numbers I had that were actually a scrapbooking thing, and I painted them black. It turned out really good, those painted numbers did. So that goes in there. I'm stamping here. This page is a blown up frame from my dad's mother's belongings, and so it was a frame with a picture in it. So I blew it up because I liked the Art Deco look of it. And then this is a little digital thing from Ephemera's Vintage Garden that I put in the middle because that was white in the middle. That's where the picture would go. But I thought that turned out kind of cute. Here I just have a little flag tuck. It's got a little map in it and the word road tucked in there. Flashcard word. Another page from the journal. I stamped over the flower here with just a word stamp. This is another piece. I don't know where it came from either, but it was in my stash as pages to use in the journal, and I just never did. So I have this vintage photo that I have attached to with some tissue type paper under it. Another one of those decorative pages that came from, I think this was from Theodosia, the paper studio from Hobby Lobby. Yes, that's where this one's from. And I coffee dyed that, and I did some, it's not sewing around there, that's just my hand doodling. Square doily here. Another page from somewhere. And on the back of this, I did some coffee dyeing with a plastic lace tablecloth that then made these little lacy impressions on there. This is Tim Holtz, one of his vellum pieces and one of his frames that are stitched around to make this little flip out that you can write on. Piece of snot onion skin tracing paper, that's what that is, coffee dyed. Some more vintage photos on this page. And I have these tucked in with vintage, this is vintage photo corners. So I have this tucked in there, and then I have used it, and this photo was from a photo album, and this one is a postcard. And I used this as a belly band for that card. And then we have a little tuck spot here, and this is gosh, I can't think of the Mirage. Something Mirage. But these are from her. Digital kit, digital papers from her. This is a scanned in image from a linen, like a napkin. I believe it's a napkin. And I just scanned that in and printed it out because I liked how that looked. Tim Holtz collage piece with a Tim Holtz collage frame on there, and that's a flip out. This is another card, another invitation card that I cut the middle out. It's on further back. And I made this into like a message board kind of thing. So I left the edges open enough that you can tuck things in. So I just have this little vintage looking business card, and that's the center of the journal, and I haven't decided what to do with it, whether I want to put something on the end of these. I oftentimes do that. But I just made this be like a message board that you can just tuck things in. This is a pressed flower from my yard that's been laminated. So it's like to tuck your keepsakes in. I think I've done this one other time in a journal, and I think it turns out really cool. Okay, then we have a sheet that's from, again, somewhere, which I've made a little pocket on here. And this image, this lady's image, is from 1957 yearbook. And I think she was teaching on the teaching staff. I had this little fabric label that said Nanette, so I decided that was her name. And that's a little bit of pocket. So that's a pocket from some packaging. I don't remember. A little bag from some, maybe a tea bag or something. I'm not sure. Can't remember. I've been working on this one a while. So then I just have some little Tim Holtz tickets things in here. And that's a little Tim Holtz fake letter. Excuse me. Then I also used another image from that same yearbook up here to make that little collage on this page. Some more of my, just drew a line around that page. And then here is a scrappy pad. And the belly band for this scrappy pad is a piece of wallpaper border. I folded it in half. And it's supposed to look like, sort of like a frame, like the molding of a frame, but I folded it in half because it was not as thick as I wanted it to be. And then I just made this little scrappy pad out of a Tim Holtz packaging, and used some tissue over the top of this, some collaging tissue to kind of cover up the name. And then just stamped on this, and this has just got some scrap pieces of paper in here that you can pull off right on and place anywhere in the journal that you'd like. And that, and I've collaged on the back of this. This is where all the Tim Holtz information was for what the product was. So I just covered that up with some collaging pages, and have that right there. Or the other side of the tracing paper. Then this is also Mirage, something Mirage, and it's just a little fold over that I've used. You can use it for secret writing space, but this could also be a bookmark. So that's right here. This came on a page of, I think, 6 strips maybe, and this is what I had left over. So I can fold it this way, I guess, and make it be that way on both sides. We'll do that. Some more scribbles along the edge here, and this is a magnetized little piece here that you can then tuck something under and it will stay because it's a magnet on both sides. So that's just a little tuck spot. The other side of the doily, just a little closing here with just a piece of advertisement from some note cards. Here is a tuck spot that is just a little collage here with envelope and doily and music sheet, just stuff laying on my desk. Just picked it up and went with it. And then this is from some scrapbooking paper. And tuck those right in there for writing on. Just a little bit of scrap paper here. And on this page, I made another little pocket, and I've used the Tim Holtz, one of Tim Holtz's collage frames. I think he came out with those last year. And I put a piece of acetate in the middle, see? And then I made this little tag to go inside, and that's made from an image from the 1957 high school annual. And just tuck that in there. And I used some of that drywall tape that I like to use. And then these numbers are from a playing card. So that tucks in there, just like that. And over here, because I let this hang over the page, I used some of my faux aged tape to blend that in right there. And then I have stamped some names on here to give that a little more interest. This is a stamped rose, and I drew the stem with the thorns on it. So I like that. And then here is the other side of what is the enlarged photo frame from the 20s, 30s, somewhere like that. I put a little butterfly right here, and this is a Ephemeris Vintage Garden image. Then over here I have, this is a die cut from Tim Holtz, and then I also have stamping, some stamping of some floral behind it. And you know what? I did this stamping, and now I can't find those stamps. And this was the first time I used them, so I don't know what's happened there. So then on this side, this is also scrapbooking paper from Theodosia from a paper studio at Hobby Lobby. And then inside here, this is a little mesh or organza bag. And behind the bag, I've made behind it a pocket, and I just have these little bits of paper in there to write on. And then inside the bag, you may have picked up on a video that I did of these faux little medallion thingies. Print and Pixel, I think, is the one that did them first. I saw the idea, and then I thought I'd try my hand at it. And that's a pressed flower in the middle of acetate with glue gun around the edge, and then I painted that with a bronze sort of paint color, metallic paint. And that's inside this little bag, just like that. So I like that. I have a little tuck spot over here with some lace, and this is another die cut here from Tim Holtz. Just some pieces to write on. And then over here, all of this is the other side of that wallpaper flip out thing with a butterfly on it. Then I made a little tuck spot here for these little things, little envelope. And this is true ephemera, Cherry Field Fair. And the photos, some of the photos earlier were true vintage. And then this is just a little piece of ephemera that I attached with an eyelet right up there at the top. So you can do some secret writing underneath this, on the back of this, if you would like. The other side of the envelope that just has some torn paper here over it. And it is a brad inserted there. Just a piece of ephemera. Over here, just a map, and this is from an auction tag, and that's tucked right in there. And then I have a large tuck here. This is the inside of that invitation card that I made the little note board that you can tuck in your ephemera and things in. And then I have a road map, and this is a vintage road map. And then just a piece of Tim Holtz paper and some other piece of card I had from somewhere. And then we have another little corner tuck here, and this is a true vintage piece. That is postcard, and it is from 1907. I think you can see that right there. And this is in, can't read it. Can't read the writing. It came from Shellsburg. Can't tell. You might can tell. But anyway, true vintage, and then that's just a piece of Tim Holtz scrapbook paper in there. Put that in there. The other side of the doily, this, and then this is the other side. Have lace on the edge of this, and then it has this letter here, and then this is the wallpaper. That's the back of this journal. So that is this journal. I appreciate you coming along. This will be in my Etsy shop if you'd like to take a look. If you have any questions about it, be sure to let me know. And what do you think about covering up the Hallmark? Should I or should I not? I'd like to know what you think about that. So appreciate you watching. I hope that I will see you in the next video. I'm working on another journal. I don't know how long it'll take me. This one took me longer than I anticipated, but it laid here for a while finished, and I just never could get around to recording the video. So it is now in my Etsy shop, and here is that journal. So I appreciate you coming along. I hope that you will join me on other journal adventures as well as the collages that I have been doing. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.